I'm late and I'm trying to neck a sandwich. So yeah, what's up? My name's Olly and I play guitar in a metal band for 10 years. And now I make music by myself, do a little bit of production. Teaching is like my main job. And today I'm gonna play a couple of tunes and just chat about whatever. So riffs, songs, chords, touring, maybe a little bit of theory, technique, anything that comes to your mind. I'm gonna open with a brand new tune. It's called Animals. It's got a singer on it, so sorry if you're not into that. Yeah, let's just do it. Yeah, that one doesn't have many notes in it. I know. Does anyone? So I have 3 tunes, and that's one of them. So this is going to be mostly Q&A. I'm going to try and space them out. So if you want to talk to me about anything that maybe I can help you with, don't be shy. What's up?
Great playing, by the way. I love your stuff.
Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about your tone, because it's very split chord kind of sound. How do you shape that tone to keep it sounding still really full and less piercing, because it sounds really clear and still that jangly split chord.
Cool. First of all, I really don't know what I'm doing with guitar tones. And least of all, the split thing. So for example, I wanted to do, so I've been a metal player forever, and I've spent a lot of time using the bridge pickup, obviously, like everyone does. And then a couple of years ago, I just wanted something a bit more twangy and organic, but quite stubborn. I don't want to ask people how to do stuff. So I just started messing with the pickup selector, and I'm using position 4. Turns out I'm using position, 4, and most people use position 2, but I didn't know this. So I kind of like that. But I mean, you can use whatever you want, but that's kind of it, like a low gain. Obviously, I have a noise gate. I don't usually play through this thing. I haven't used my physical pedals in a very long time, but what I'm trying to do is just... The main thing is I want attitude, and I want it to be like twangy. And then maybe still sound lush for chord stuff. So like, it's a bit of a nightmare because it's more of a feeble setting than using all of your bridge or all of your neck. So it's still something I'm working on. Things can feel a little bit muggy in the low end sometimes, or they can feel nice and organic. Everything's a trade-off, right? So the top end is hopefully less piercing than it would be on a 7-string straight to the bridge through like a really digital distortion. But then it's less strong, it cuts less. So I'm just kind of working it out as I go along. But yeah, so far it's this guitar. I actually want to change the pickups on this guitar. But it's this guitar with, position 4, I guess. It helped me. Is 1 bridge and then neck is 5. So sweet, I'm on 4. That's about it. But like I said, I'm just trying to do what I set this up in 5 minutes. And I'm just trying to do what I do at home through various modelers. So this isn't exactly where I'd like to be, but the trains were fucked, so excuse my French. Long answer, but that's about it. It's my reminder to turn the GoPro on. Anyone else want to chat to me about things? What's up?
I guess, so for one, are you ever actually engaging the alter switch on the AV at all within your sound?
No, I hate it.
Okay then.
Honestly.
I've got the same thing. I guess when it comes to actually, when you have switched over to your AV and stuff like that, in terms of like the Ibanez, because I know you've been an Ibanez artist for bloody ages at this point, like, sorry, I've completely drawn a blank now.
It's all good.
I'll come back eventually.
That's going to happen to me when I try and play these songs.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. I'll come back.
It's all good. So I actually have a question for you. Do you know what this switch is supposed to do?
It is meant to switch it to basically get strap and telly type sounds. So like position 4 is basically emulating like the neck pickup of a strap, stuff along those lines, and then like everything. You know what Ava the Ibanez are trying to do their surfing. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, look, everyone has their own tastes. I really like this guitar, and I've recorded a lot of music with it. It's really versatile and it's cool. But this switch, to my ears, it just makes everything sound a bit worse than it was.
Yeah.
So I've never engaged it.
Switch it on.
Should we see what it does? So this is where I'm currently at, and then when I hit the switch. See, today it sounds cool. That's annoying. I don't know what to tell you. So does it sound better for everything? Let's test it. You gain something and you lose something. I think it's like now I can't remember where it was beforehand. That's the new one. Something in the mids is a bit more thrash metal about it. But it's also a bit wobbly. I knew I was right. I was right the whole time. I might have to experiment with it more.
How long did it kind of take you to perfect your down picking technique? Because like you've done this for so long, most of your stuff is down picking. You've basically giving me like tetanus elbow for trying to learn some of this stuff recently. And like it's taken me a long period of time to get that initial kind of accenting and harmony and accenting, and also the down picking at the same time. It's taken me How long did it take for that for you, really?
Okay. Just so, can everyone hear what he's asking, or shall I repeat the questions? Would that be handy, or can everyone hear? Is anyone going to respond? Okay, so he just asked me how I do the down picking thing. Also, be careful if you're getting tennis elbow, or whatever. That's an issue. Any speed I have at all comes from being relaxed. I've said it all over social media. I've said it in every interview. I said it to every student. It could take a while for you to learn what your body likes. For example, you could be at the laptop doing something, gaming, and then you stop playing and you realize, oh, I was clenching my jaw the whole time. Or, for example, right now, my posture is really bad, because it always is. But it's not until you just have a quick conversation with your body and ask. So what I'm getting at is, I think a lot of people see speed and they think, oh, just muscle through it and like be stiff, and I'm gonna do it too. But I can only speak from my perspective, but anything that I can do that's quick or nimble or nifty is not coming from, yes, I like to hit hard, but that's a dynamic thing. I'm accenting. I'm not just trying to muscle through, because each repetition makes it harder, makes it tougher. So learning how to do things like fling, I'm very aware you can hear me breathing. I don't talk into microphones a lot. So something like this. I almost feel like I'm not doing it. I'm just throwing a loose hand at the guitar. At varying dynamics. I think they both sound bad today. So yeah, if you're doing fast passages of music, you have to pick your battles. You cannot 127 velocity everything. It doesn't work that way. So just doing little things like being efficient with what the arc of motion is, trying to be relaxed. You don't want to. I don't think that you can just muscle through absolutely everything. So it comes from and obviously practice and repetition and having a look. There are going to be people who are trying to do the same thing as you who might have got there in certain ways. I don't do the same way. I don't do it the same way my previous guitarist does it, or how many other people do it. But this is the way it's worked for me, and I feel way less stressed. And I can't afford, if I'm on stage, say there's, I don't know, an hour of technical music. I can't afford seizing up and getting tense and missing a bunch of notes, because they're coming quick. So it just makes a lot of things easier. Also looking at how your wrist is designed as well. What was that? He made a gesture, it looked funny. There are ways that we are clearly designed to be able to move, and ways that are a bit more obstructed. I try and utilize a lot of that with the downpicking thing, or just any playing in general. Long answer again, but that's what my answer is. Anytime, as long as today.
What do you do as a daily practice? So what do you make sure you have to do every day just to make sure you're still a guitarist?
I hate to say it, but I haven't practiced in a very, very long time. I was practicing these songs because they're new. And a week ago, they went under my fingers. I mean, they're not really under my fingers today, as you might see. But I'm kind of taking a little bit of a break from technical. I've kind of reached the point where technically, I don't feel the need to be faster or prove anything. I'm moving away from shred and lead guitar. I'm sure this is not what the young people want to hear, but I want to make songs and riffs and things that stick in people's heads. So that's kind of the practice, is making the right creative decisions and sweating out over making new tunes and stuff. When I was practicing, yeah, just creative stuff and technical stuff. These are the kind of the two sides. So I don't know, a technical drill could literally be this to a metronome. But that's on one string with no frets. So if you're a nutcase, you can work on each fret and each string. That's not using any left-hand stuff. I'm always doing this thing. Because it's all good being able to do this on one string, but there is melodic information in songs. So the rabbit hole just goes crazy. And then there's alternate picking as well as rhythm playing, and then there's chord stuff, and there's always a chord what do you call it, a chord transition that you struggle with. Everybody in here has had an issue with a chord transition because of could be the arc of the neck or where it is, or do you know what I mean? So just little things like that, quality of life improvements. But a lot of it is very similar to anything you'd find in any book, I'd say. But then with the creative stuff, I do this thing a lot, which is like parameter-based practice. This is something I did when I studied, where you pick a parameter and you pick a time limit and you work as much as you can within that. So a parameter could be, and you have to, I think you have to base it on what your weaknesses are or what your fear is. So I know that I can play in D minor, for example. All the songs today are in D minor, and this is my favorite guitar. It's in drop D. Ergo, I'm always playing in D minor. So one for me would be like playing F today, or jamming F for 2 minutes. Or if I only play in 4/4, it could be put on a metronome or a beat in 7/4, and only work within those guidelines for however much time you have free in your day. What this does is it forces you to be creative and go to places that you don't. You might have some licks in 7/4, but they're gonna run out because you've set a time limit. And in that moment, you are now forced to be creative. And you start messing up, and not everything sounds good, and you start surprising yourself. And there are so many. You could do no low string, or you could do, I don't know, you could do no notes. You can do a lot without any notes. You could do nothing beyond the 5th fret, or everything beyond the 5th fret. You could do only upstrokes. I mean, anything that you can think of. I've written whole songs like this, and I've just kept the creativity going like this. So these are kind of things that, yeah, when I was practicing, that's what I was looking at. Big, long answers. Anyone else? I guess I play a song. When they're all done, they're all done. So halfway through this song, we're halfway through my songs. How many of you are students here? And how many of you are just come in today? Are you loving it? I said. There we go. This next song is a song called Try, and it features the singer of a band called Carnival. His name's Ian Kenny. I basically grew up on his band, and then when I asked him to sing on my song, and he said yes, I kind of freaked out. So that's cool. We good?
You could just kill all of these things you've been thinking. For the reason you're tired of your knots. With the part of you looking for answers in, and the part of you lost in the dark. Don't tell me that things ain't that simple, 'cause there's a line that we all gotta cross. And I hope that you spend all your fortune, yeah. Next time you won't get the chance. You're still waiting for the world to break. My mistake was having you the kingdom without cause. I've been here 1,000 times, searched every door, hoping there's a path that leads to what was before. The illusion still fades. The illusion still just to find a sense of a reason. Try to explain the unknown, and hope that things are created in the image of us all. I've been here 1,000 times, searched every door, hoping there's a path that leads to what was before. The illusion still fades me, it changes. I'm still in search of
Anyone would see me mess up that hammer-on bit at the beginning. It all fell apart. Yeah, but that was an accident. They're all Instagram riffs until they're songs. Yeah, so what did I mess up there and why? It was that. But I just did it now to prove that I can. Does anyone have any cues that I can... Yo.
I'll let him go first.
What's up, bro?
Me.
Mm-hmm.
You did Little Wing.
I wouldn't know where to start. Is that G major?
Jimi Hendrix.
I know who... And oh, okay. Is that the one with the... you have to know some gospel-y stuff, right? Is it in G major?
I think so.
So do you know how to play Little Wing? What key is Little Wing in? Anyone?
Either E minor or G major.
Okay, cool. I still can't play it. I was just trying to work out if I could even... I'm not going to, but yeah, the answer's no. Sorry. Do you have a real question? It's fine. What's up?
I was just going to ask if you have any like sort of ways that you can be less nervous, I suppose, because that's one of my biggest things, like playing in front of other people. It's like, I don't know, trying not to judge yourself too much and think about what you're doing, like every single note.
Dude, I'm experiencing that right now.
Oh, really?
I nailed that song every day in my house,
Yeah,
and
that's
now
what I was gonna say.
now I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really change. The thing is, I'm cold though, so if you're on tour or if you can make a few shows or a few things like this happen in a row, the first one kind of sucks, and then you're just like as soon as this is over, and I've been a pro musician for like, I don't know, 11 years maybe. As soon as this is over, I'm gonna be like, oh, I really wish I could do that again. But it's because it's an isolated event. It's not like I had a bunch of these leading up to it. So if you play a gig, I don't know, every weekend, it's kind of like playing it can be like playing your first gig every day, every time. But on tour, and not everyone goes on crazy tours, yeah, but if you play regularly, then it gets better. Regular band kind of tour could be 4 to 6 weeks. So starts shaky, then you get really tight, and then you start not caring for the last 2 or 3 and getting a bit silly. But
So what I was going to ask, is it like, if it gets better, like as you get
oh no, of course it does. But you can do, I don't know if jam nights are a thing, but there's that. There's going live. There's playing a little tune for your granny. Any form, I'm not even joking, any form of audience is, that's what helps you get through it. But yeah, if you play a gig a month, they could all potentially, unless you're the most confident guy in the world, could all potentially feel a bit sketchy, but yeah. Anytime. Yo.
As a guitar player, where you draw inspiration from, or what are your favorite go-to guitar players? You got like...
Man. Well, there's a bunch of guitar players in bands that I grew up, so they're not the Steve Vais and the Joe Satrianis, who I like, but they're kind of one-off isolated guitar players. You know, they're the the virtuoso kind of. So I like those guys, the Paul Gilberts, so on and so forth, Bumblefoot. But just all the guitar players in the bands that I grew up on, which are bands like Killswitch Engage and Gojira and Ion Dissonance, and I'm going to forget so many, Lamb of God and Slipknot, and just metal bands, you know. But then when in 2006, when I started music college, then I started finding out about the Guthries and the Greg Howes and the Richie Kotzens and the Brett Garseds and the Frank Gambalis. Who else is good? There are I couldn't possibly, no matter how many I tell you, there are so many more, right? Who's the guy that he plays an S shape? Andy Timmons? So for some stupid reason, I only really got into him a couple of years ago, whereas that would have been really handy when I was starting to play guitar. His tone is wicked, he writes wicked stuff, really quality guitar player. There's a guy, big southern dude who does all the fingerstyle stuff. He's a monster. Jake. Who's the guy I'm thinking of? This guy. It's not acoustic. It's like an electric guitar, and it's clean. And he does all this shit. Who? Well, he's really good. Yeah, so many, and I don't think I have. It's not like I have some secret guitar player. I've always enjoyed. I can see the Queen stuff in the back. We all grow up knowing Queen songs in the UK, but only recently I just watched a couple of interviews with Brian May, and I was like, oh, actually sounds really good. Like his tone is good, his sustain is good. He's really clean. He comes in with his ideas, and he comes out. He's got that conviction, and it's really solid. So there are so many great players, and then in my generation, there are so many great guitar players that I know. So I know a guy called Jack. He's nuts. I know a guy called Phil. He's not Jack Gardner. Guy called Phil Short. He's great. There is David Maxim Michik. I can't remember if I pronounced that. Jakub Zatecki, if you know that guy. He's a freak. Stefan Taranto is a freak. And it just goes on and on and on and on. So at least when I was a kid, you kind of got what you were given in terms of finding new music, but now everyone can broadcast themselves. So if there's, with Jakub, he was like a 14-year-old kid just in a tiny Polish village, but now the world knows about him because he can just set a camera up. So it's a good time to be a guitar player. Although most people on Instagram are miming and faking and half speeding it. I don't care if that ends it on a sour note. It's got to stop. But yeah, plenty. And there are many more as well. Yo, is your hand up?
Yeah.
What's up?
Why do you choose sort of like cleaner tone instead of like the classic like metal high gain sound?
Just because I did it for 10 years. I did it in a band, and in my band we used 7 and 8 strings, and it was, as heavy as we could make it. And after a while, if you eat the same meal, it becomes unappealing to you. And right now, it's not metal. I'm still grew up on metal, and it changed my life, and I'm still a metal kid at heart. But just in this moment, in this era, I'm just kind of in the twangy phase. I'm not saying I won't go back to it. In fact, I have plans to go back to it, but you just need a break from stuff sometimes, Yo.
I've got a good question actually. So you spoke about all those really good guitar players about the tone. What about, do you by chance like Joe Bonamassa?
Yeah, he's wicked. They're all the same guys that you think are cool. I will find value in. Who's the guy who plays the guitar? He's a gospel guy. He plays it upside down. Eric Gales. You're not gonna find much better than him. He is wild, so expressive. And they're gonna keep coming to me. Yo.
So okay, we talked a little bit about how I think you're in Monuments, right?
I was.
Yeah. How that started, and as metal, like metalcore and all that, is a way smaller, like audience and genre than your mainstream radio stuff. How you kind of found your feet in that, and got to like playing big tours and stuff like that with those guys? Was it? Yeah.
So how did I join Monuments? Monuments is my ex-band, for people who don't know. They're still going, and they're very good. You should check them out. Plus, I get little royalties if you do that. I bumped into one of them at a gig, and he had seen a video of me playing on YouTube. Now, that's commonplace nowadays, but in 2010, that was a brand new thing for me to bump into a guy and him ask me, can you fill in for a tour? And I'm like, why? He's like, because I saw your YouTube video. I was like, oh, that was worth putting up then. And it would have had 100 views maybe. Also, I managed to get hold of an 8-string, which again, in 2010, the industry didn't even know how to build them yet. They knew how to put another string on a guitar, but obviously you have to compensate for the scale length and allowing the tuning peg to take a bigger string. All this stuff kind of has been refined now, and getting a decent pro level 8-string now is not hard. Same with 7 strings. They didn't make them big enough and yada yada, but I had one that was good. So I got lucky. I was tenacious. I lied about having a guitar that I didn't, and then just worked out later. Because when I studied at a place very similar to this, and they say, beg, borrow, and steal. If you want the opportunity, take it. I could have said, no, I'm sorry, I don't have an 8-string. But then I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have flown around the world and done a bunch of cool stuff. So hopefully that inspires someone to lie through their teeth. But you got to back it up if you do that. Yeah. What's up?
I guess furthering on from that question actually, because I'm actually doing a dissertation involving like the whole kind of metal scene and like kind of the gradual transition and like the evolution of genre and stuff like that and all that kind of thing. How long did it take for like kind of like I guess like when you were in Monolith, like for it to like actually gain traction? Because I know a lot of like the kind of like I guess that scene came from obviously Brown and Ackle and all that other stuff, and then kind of just kind of subsided like and kind of grew. And most of it is really just a bedroom guitarist scene anyway. So yeah, it must be really like in terms of that, like just how kind of the band found their feet in terms of that, and how long it kind of really seemed to get any sort of return. It's not really I can't really expect you to get any sort of return in quite a niche kind of genre. But I guess if you get what I'm trying to if you're trying to get what I mean.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So,
just the evolution, I guess.
well, what does traction mean? Traction used to mean Facebook followers, and then it meant, oh, someone wants to book you for a gig, and then it meant, oh, someone wants to take you on a little 10-day tour. Can we make that work financially is a whole other thing, but we did. Gaining traction is, again, when we started in the band, it wasn't, you couldn't just get famous off a YouTube video, but everyone was pro level, actually apart from me. I had to reach that level, but the band were going to be great regardless. So they had that together, so every performance was kind of unforgettable. And I'm removing myself from this. I'm just unbiased. Objectively, they were pretty. I had never seen anything like it. So there's that. And then like we were in a few situations where, you know, you go on tour with, there's a group of bands, and they realize very quickly who the tightest band was and who actually meant business, and that was fun. Especially when I also got good at guitar, because initially I was like, everyone loves these guys, but I'm just kind of messy. So that was fun. So yeah, just taking pride in your branding, in your performance, you know, practicing, getting in the room together, word of mouth, bands hear your stuff, they like you, they submit you to take you on tour. It was a very natural evolution. Then we got offers from abroad, like India and South Africa, and then we got signed. Don't sign anything. Yeah, and then it becomes, and then you start headlining gigs instead of needing to support, and then you can kind of call your own shots, and you can push back against the label a bit and be like, no, this is the first single, that's not the first single. We know what we're doing. We know how to take control of our branding and our image, and you know, we're writing the music, we're self-producing it, you know? No one's coming in and telling us how to do this. So yeah, with us it was a very natural, what do you call it, climb, but still in, a progressive metal space.
Were you like ever involved before joining the Unnamed Metal gigs like that? Were you ever involved in like the early kind of forums and stuff like that? Like
None of it.
None of it at all. That was just kind of.
I heard about them, but I didn't care about guitars enough to get on there and chat about them. Sorry, guys.
No, I appreciate that.
Yo.
That's
Another good question I've got for you. So you know when you said that you were assigned to South Africa or another country in terms of like those two countries, did you tour? Did your band Monuments tour to South Africa?
Yeah, but a tour in South Africa is Johannesburg and the one I can't remember.
Did you
Same.
Cape Town.
Cape Town. Thank you.
Did you do a tour in America or Los Angeles?
Done many tours in America.
Have you performed at Madison Square Garden?
No.
Oh,
That's for the Adeles and the Ed Sheerans and the
Elton John's.
the Ariana Grandes. But Elton John will do 4 nights in a row there. Do you know what I mean? Madison Square Garden has not happened for me yet. Thank you, I appreciate that. What's up?
What's your like average setup for a gig in terms of like anthem? Like,
I mean, I haven't played a gig for a long time. The last 2 gigs I played, I was playing for, I was kind of filling in for someone else's, so I just plugged into whatever they told me to. My average setup when I was like a regular touring musician was actually this. So before, because we use modelers at home and the XFX and the Pod and the Line 6 and now the Kemper and the QC, but we still always preferred the feel of this because it's responsive. See how responsive it is? I don't necessarily love this amp or the tone I have today, but there's I just grew up with amps and I just know how they feel. I don't feel like there's any digital what do you call it when your computer's slow? Like my computer is today. Latency, yeah. There's nothing between me and this. I'm attached to it. Now for my style of music, I need that. So common setup is you have your amp sound. It actually sounds so much better with none of my pedals. Well, more organic. So when it's just me in the amp, which I've never had in my life. If you're a blues player, maybe. If you are, I don't know, a fusion guy, I don't know, anything that's quite organic, maybe that's the situation. I would never, because I play at high gain and I'm gonna have feedback, I really wanna shake the tone. So when it's just me and the amp, I'm really just trying to find something that's simple and balanced. So a bit of bite, a bit of body, and some mids, right? This is what we need to make sounds happen. This is the kind of midpoint that I got on this amp. It's dynamic as well. I can do stuff with my hands. I could probably make techie stuff happen. So it feels good. It's like a one size fits all. It's in a good spot. Then the natural thing to do would be to EQ it. If I had a 7 or an 8 string, I would EQ the low end a little bit because it's a bigger guitar and it goes in the low end. But do you like that? But it doesn't, I'm not doing that today because it's a smaller guitar. But what I am doing is I'm using there's a level boost on the EQ, which just gives it a tiny little bit of bite. So the difference would be, it's really subtle. So this is off. And this is on. Just a little bit more something in the top end, and then an overdrive pedal, and we all know why, because it tightens things up and makes them feel hotter. And now I have all this gain, I have all this hiss, and potentially, eventually, feedback. Do what I say and feedback. It only feeds back when you don't want it to feed back. So I have a noise gate, and that's the thing. And then if I was to go to the bridge pickup, it's a little bit, it's not set up for the bridge, it's set up for the, what was it, 4? For position 4. But again, it sounds a bit more metal now. Can't remember any of the riffs that I was going to play today, but yeah. So this is kind of exactly the way I would go about it. I would just make small adjustments for the room, for the guitar, for the tone. And it's very standard. A lot of people like to do stuff like split cabs and maybe get a compressor involved. You don't really need a compressor involved if you have this many sources of distortion, because I have a little bit from the amp, a little bit from the pickup, a little bit from the EQ, and a little bit from the drive. So it's compressed. Yeah, people like a bunch of different stuff, but I like to keep it quite simple. I don't really do the tricks and stuff. Long answer, I'm sorry. Did I miss someone? Someone saying something? I'm just gonna play a little bit because I'm gonna keep my hands warm. Oh, earlier, who was I talking to when I said you can do a lot of stuff without playing any notes? Who was I saying that to? Yeah, I just want to talk about that because I said it and then didn't back it up with anything. So I feel like I should talk about the percussive stuff. I've talked about this on a YouTube video before, so if you've seen that, I'm going to repeat myself. So the percussive side of what I do is a little bit more, it's a little less traditional than, well, what is a percussive technique on guitar? We have, everyone knows about palm muting, right? That's the standard one, and then that's about it, as far as I know, maybe playing a short note. So with me, what I like to do is the palm muting thing, but obviously we have different levels of palm mute as well. So playing an open string is one, slightly muted, fully muted, somewhere in the middle. Each one has a different texture. Then we have maybe just hammer-ons. That's not the best riff in the world. I'm just playing you a scale. So it goes, is the point, right? Then we also have the left hand slap thing, which is something I've been doing for a while. So making this an apparent, purposeful note. Oh, I've also been doing this recently because I stole it off Guthrie, which is splitting into two. It's harder, but it's fun and it's easier than going, see? That thing is kind of standard, but this. There's a lot of groovy stuff you can do in there. What else I do? These. This is easy to do. Harmonics. Those are cool. So anything short and sharp and snappy. There is more. You can slap guitar like you can slap a bass. I mean, that's quite easy because I can do that quicker than I can downpick. And then yesterday, I just found a new thing yesterday where if I do that at different points, I can make like a fake phaser happen. So it should hopefully sound like. So you kind of get that airplane. It's very slight. It's very silly. I'm really not playing guitar anymore. I'm just hitting it. There was something else. Oh yeah, one time I was messing around with this, but my noise gate is stopping it. That's the whole outro of an actual song that I've played before. I haven't played any notes. That was my point. I just wanted to prove that that's a thing you can do. Oh, and there's one last one, which is really silly. I wrote a joke song with a friend. It was a joke. And the riff went something like... I mean, it's just silly, but you can get away with a lot as long as you have like a tight tone. And I'm not just treating each one. You know, I've practiced each one. I've practiced each silly sound so that they all sound like part of a greater kind of drum kit. There's also pick scrapes, and you know we could do this all day, but it's a bit silly at this point. But yeah, I said it and then I moved on, and I just wanted to talk about it a bit. Anyone else want to talk about silly noises? Yo.
Well,
No. Let's move on.
I was just going to ask about sort of inspirations and like if metal and that side of music was always your like was that always what you were into and that was going to be it, or did you have sort of different phases of what you went through to sort of find what you liked most, I suppose?
I didn't really get phases. I just added more stuff to what I like. Metal was the first thing I really fell in love with. And but I don't even listen to metal anymore. I just listen to commercial hip hop and R&B and pop. Yeah. And the thing that inspires me the most is seeing the way that pop musicians craft their albums, everything is perfect, everything is in tune, the production is the best production money can buy. It's the best thing that could possibly be sonically delivered. The mastering is out of this world. The playing, so that I always refer to that Bruno Mars album that came out in 2016. I'm obsessed with that thing. Yeah, and then watching, I don't know, something like June, where every shot is iconic and it sounds incredible and just everything's delivered, because that's what I'm trying to reach for. I don't always achieve it, but with the music I write, I want to play it as good as I can. I want it to be mixed as good as I can. I want everything to be as good as it possibly could. I know it sounds obvious, but so when I see a perfect product, these are the things that inspire me. But it could also be art or video games. I like video games a lot, and there's some great art and set pieces and music and stories in those as well. So yeah, anything really sick tends to inspire me.
Right, and then you write based off, like, say there's like a game theme or something, you write like based off of that, or like something.
No, never, because I'll just end up ripping it off or something. But I get inspired. I don't wake up every day like, yeah, guitar again, because I'm 33 and I've been doing it for a while. But if I finish a wicked game or I see a sick movie, or I don't know, I could see like a really chilling horror film and just really feel the fear. And I'll be like, wow, that thing worked. That got me. They did the thing. And that will inspire me to pick up the guitar and like try and evoke something from someone else. So it could be anything. Yeah, just something that's well delivered. But it's these days it's not seeing another metal band on my Instagram. I've seen a few metal bands. Yo.
Stupid little thing that you did earlier. Was that for the no TV and no gay video?
No, I've made a lot of silly songs. No, that was for a series of songs I did with my mate where every bar we switched genre. I might have to upload one of those. But it's not music, okay? Like, I don't stand by it, and it's a joke.
All of those videos always give me great delight.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. What's up?
What's your favourite heavy metal band of all time?
That's impossible. I think my first true obsession was a band called Trivium. I think the band that I've listened to the most and have actually taken the most from is Killswitch Engage. So these are just the bands that I grew up on in 2005, you know? My real obsession is a band called Gojira. I have the tattoo and everything. I'm really, really obsessed with Gojira. But then Meshuggah, Pantera. You are? Yeah.
My favourite metal band, personally, Iron Maiden. That was the first metal band I ever listened to. Me as an 11-year-old boy.
So they've got some riffs, but I don't actually lift anything. But then every band that I grew up on all got the dual harmonies from Iron Maiden. So it's all kind of connected. And then Metallica is the basis for all the metal riffing and stuff. So I don't know. I'm just going to say, like, I don't know.
Megadeth. What about Megadeth? You like Megadeth?
Megadeth are a very important metal band. And Marty Friedman is another amazing guitar player. I feel like I missed someone. Did I not? Yo.
You play the Tornado Salsa, though.
No. I've never tried to learn it. I've never tried to. And would you believe I've only heard it like a couple of times as well? This is the thing. Do you have this thing where, for example, I don't know, there are things that we all expect to know. So you know what's the big Bohemian Rhapsody? I couldn't sing along to that because I've only ever actually heard sections of it at a time. I've never sit down, never owned it. And everyone, for example, I only saw Die Hard, which is a classic film, a few years ago. But everyone I know has grown up on it. Everyone's like, "Oh, how come you don't know?" I was like, I don't know. It wasn't in VHS in my house in the 90s, and therefore I haven't seen it. So Tornado of Souls, I know there's some cool bends in it, but I don't actually know that tune. Same Stairway to Heaven. I know what the intro sounds like, but there are songs that can avoid you, no matter how famous they are. And the Tornado of Souls solo is one. I've seen a lot of covers of it, so I could identify it, but the start of that song, I'm not actually too sure. This is not me trying to be cool, I'm just being transparent. I have pretty much retired from lead playing. I just cannot be asked. Like, I really just can't be asked. I know so many people who do it better than me, and it's not how I want to express myself. I want to express myself with rhythms and riffs and songs and stuff that people play in cars and party to and stuff like that. It was one of my first passions was like the shred thing. I'm not going to show you any of that. Yeah, guitar solos, I really don't care. There are some monster players out there. I'll call Jack Gardner, you know? He'll absolutely destroy anything I could possibly come up with, and he'll improvise it. So I'm just sticking to my strengths, you know? So I'm afraid no solos for me. Yo.
Even if you retire from lead playing, do you find yourself adding, like, melodically shaping your rhythm and stuff to add?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I do that has melodic flourishes in it. But a straight set guitar solo, unless it's for a very specific purpose. This is the other problem. Everything I do, I try and think of a song context. And unfortunately, sometimes a guitar solo is a really cool way to break up a song structure. And that's how, for example, my old band, we were all about riffs. And then I was writing a song with a friend, with my guitar player. And I was like, I hate to say it, but I think this song needs a guitar solo. And he was like, well, I'm not doing it. I was like, why did I say anything? So then I had to write one. But now, yeah, if that comes up, I'll just call one of the many, many people I know who are just way better at it than me. It's not my thing. I have a different skill set that I'm trying to like work on, you know. Yo. There's no one thing that has helped me finish a song. There are many things that help me start a song, and I'm sure you all relate to that. My thing is I just try and have a central focus. So with Open, it was, I don't really like the sound of Lydian, so why don't I try and make some Lydian stuff sound cool? With Balance, it was just like, I'm gonna show these people how much I can riff. That was that's all that was about. Thank you. Try, which is the second tune I played, was about, I wanted to turn down the distortion and have some interplay with the guitar parts. So a bit of panning, a bit of you do this job, I do that job, just a bit more closer to alt rock. I have a song called Tide that was just, again, a bit like, I'm just gonna flex. Because of this thing, which is not a cool way to write a song, by the way. Be like, look how fast I can do this. It's just not. But I've had this thing. Something like that. I mean, it goes on for a lot longer than that, but I've had that since I was quite young, and therefore not put it in a song because it felt like I didn't work for it. And then I just decided to put it in. There's a new song on the new album, it's not an album, Relax, EP, that I decided, so when I was talking about parameter-based practice, one of them was like, no pick, what can you do with your hands? You can still tap, you can still slap, you can still play chords, you can play finger style, you can arpeggiate, you know what I mean? Like all of this cool stuff comes out of the woodwork, and I wrote a song based around that. So the parts are nice chords. I'm just speeding through it. There's some hybrid picking stuff, kind of broke my own rule. There's some tapping. Something like that. There's slapping at the end. I missed the note, but you don't know that because it's not released. The first song I played, this one. It was all about how simple can I make it. I have so many notes in my songs, and it was like, can I write a simple song with 5 sections max? Something not too proggy, something not too crazy. My final song that I'm gonna play, which is very notey and hard to play, it's got a piano in it. That was the new thing. So I feel it just helps me, because otherwise you're just looking at 24 frets and 6, maybe 7 strings, and boundless creative like possibilities, why would you gravitate to one thing more than anything else? Whereas if I say, today I'm doing everything in a new key or in 5/4 or something, now at least my mind's been shifted to some new ideas and I can kind of get creative. Because if I have every option available to me, I'm going to play PS5. So I need something to give me just some slight like barriers. And again, with the whole, the song, my fingerstyle song, there's one moment where I needed a harmony and the only way to play it was with a pick. That's fine. All I'm doing is, it's okay to break your rule a little bit. I'm just trying to get into a creative zone within parameters. And the other reason for this is because I don't want all my songs to sound the same. They're going to have similar vibes. Yes, I'm playing them. I have things that I frequent, but I don't want to do balance part 2. I don't want to, do you know what I mean? I just don't want to repeat myself. So I think it's a cool idea and I find it quite fun. It's another long answer. I could try. You hear me miss that last note? I can't remember any of it. See, if I'd have known, I would have practiced it, but I didn't plan on playing it today. And then there's obviously something like that, but in drop C. That's my one popular song for anyone who cares. What's up?
When you're doing like sort of chord progressions and stuff, how do you sort of like approach it? Would you come up with sort of the bass notes you hit and then think of what's exciting to put in between, or is it just something that your mind goes and you're like, right, I want to go to a whatever here, like? You know?
I'm never thinking about the names of the notes. I just know that that's a good question, because I found recently that maybe a weakness of mine is to keep. I like things that's kind of poppy and simple, and I kind of keep falling into the 4 chords per chorus thing. And so I'm trying to be a bit more progressive and a bit more creative with that. So I'm always trying to do something a little different. Look, if something needs to be simple and striking and meditative and just that simple, and it does the job and it's efficient and it gives you that feeling, then you need to run with it. But I don't want to keep doing the same thing. So if that means playing a slightly different version of a chord than the last time you played it, or putting it at a different part in the bar, these are the things I do. But unfortunately, a couple of things have always stayed with me, so I don't find power chords very exciting. But this there's just so much more emotion in that. And I just, all this minor stuff kind of gets me in the feels. So I do need to try and find ways to keep reinventing that for myself. So sometimes it could be adding a 7th if you want to get, technical about it. Just changing the fingering, changing the tuning, changing the key. Yeah, so I can keep my own ears, happy and surprised, not eating the same meal, basically. A couple more, then I'm going to play my last tune. Yo.
Do you think you'd get more work as a guitar player from playing like an extra? You mentioned like you had to lie about getting into that band initially.
From playing what, sorry?
From having like extra strings and learning how to use them.
Oh no one in the world is going to hire you for having a 7 string. Maybe. But I wouldn't worry about that. Like, in the session world, I can't think, unless you just happen to, I don't know, land in the emails of someone who's making, like, a demon shooter, like Doom. No one's going to be like, oh, you don't have an 8 string, then you can't have the job. That's just not going to happen. And I can't really speak too much for the session world because I don't do a lot of session stuff. And when I do, I just pick the stuff that aligns perfectly with my skill set and what I can be asked to do because I don't like having a boss. But you need to be versatile. You need to have an understanding of. You basically need why Guthrie is sick because he's fluent and he can say something and be creative in pretty much any situation he wants to be in. That's what they want. They don't want you. They don't want you to. If you're with a producer and they say, "Can you do something like this?" You have to be able to say yes. You have to be able to say, "Yeah," and we can try this, 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 and this, and this. I'd be amazed if it might. There's always an outlier, but I'd be amazed if someone's like, "That string doesn't go low enough," or "It's not genting hard enough." I just really don't think so. But hey, if you get a 7 string, then maybe you'll prove me wrong one day. But I don't think you need one. Yo.
You mentioned that you don't want to have a boss. Like, yeah. How easy is to collaborate with people within a band? Or is it better to do things by yourself?
It's like pulling your teeth out. So the problem with being in a band, well, I can only talk about the band I was in, is that everyone's extremely talented. And you're not just dealing with talent levels, you're dealing with this guy brings in an idea, this guy likes it, this guy doesn't care, and this guy wants to, I don't know, play it in a completely different. He's not seeing the vision. Doesn't mind it, but he wants to play it differently. So this then becomes a bit of a hierarchy, because I'm like, if you're ambivalent, if you don't mind either way, then get out, shut up, because I'm trying to make a song happen. Things can get tense when you really believe in this thing, this guy doesn't, or this guy does, but you don't, which is completely natural. There are so many different reasons why it can be difficult, and you end up, and I don't think anyone should have to compromise because we're all just trying to chase a vision, but you do have to compromise. But sometimes using, this guy wants to do a kick heavy beat and this guy wants to do a snare heavy beat, so we just kind of make a kicky snarey beat. This doesn't always equal the best of both worlds. It could just be, it would have been better if we chose one of these. So you have to give things up. And there's this weird political thing where you're like, I'm going to let you have this one, but next time I want one, I'm going to have it. So on and so forth. And you always have to try and think about what's best for the band and what's best for the music. But sometimes you just feel so strongly about it. And you're like, listen, I know you feel this way about this thing, but I promise you I care more about it. Just let me have this one thing. And it's all for the benefit of all of you, yeah. So one thing I learned is that it's easier to present music to other people if it's, the closer it is to being fully formed. Because if I take one riff to this guy, to the band, like I said, this guy likes it, this guy doesn't care. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I say, here's a song, then they'll be like, oh, okay, can we change the ending or can we double this section? It's harder to argue with it because I have already, or an individual has already provided a picture. You might want to fix this or fix that, but it's usually, yeah, it's a way easier thing. But when you make solo music, I don't have to do any of that. And I can just make what I want to make, and it's not really about ego, but you do want to get credit for things you've done. And that's another political thing in the band where my other guitar player is like a guitar superstar, and my drummer was exceptional, and everyone's just popular in their own right, and it comes under the name of the band, which is cool, and the band is under the label, do you know what I mean? Whereas now there's no mistake who's calling the shots, and I just feel free, and if I don't like something, it doesn't happen, and it's not a control freak thing. I was in a band, I was a member of a band for 10 years, and just now, for the last couple of years, I'm doing my own thing, do you know what I mean? And it feels really healthy. It also means that I don't get chemistry, so I have to do it all. If I work with singers, there's some chemistry, but I'm programming the drums, I'm writing the bass, I'm getting involved with vocal lines because I care about that stuff. I care about every aspect of the music that I write. But what I don't get is someone sending me a guitar riff, and I get to freak out about it. If I don't come up with the riffs, there are no riffs. So I'm in the deep end. So it's a trade-off. But for me, it's an obvious trade-off because I just did a decade of one. So now I'm exploring the other. Anyone? Yo.
Do you prefer working with instrumental artists or singers?
It depends. A lot of singers can be divas. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm sure we will, but I'm not sure when. I need to give him something cool. I just like it when stuff flows. I do like the thing when you send singers music and they sing back on it, and they haven't just sang on top of your music. They've moved with it, and they've stayed out of the way of certain things. And I've already given them space for certain things because I knew I was writing it for vocals, and it just matched. I always had that with Andy, who's the singer of Monuments, the singer on my new stuff. That was really fun as well. Yeah, vocals are fun when they're good. But sometimes you bump into a vocalist who's like, oh, I just need to do this because I'm just like expressing. It's like, you might be, mate, but this doesn't sound good or serve the song. And you don't know how to sing in time or in tune. So you're gonna have to shut up. Yeah, collaborate, like all that stuff. You know, when I program the drums to my songs, I have a pretty good idea of drums, a pretty good relationship with drums. But every time I send them to it, because I program them and I get real drums recorded, and real drums are their real language, you know what I mean? And they come up with stuff I couldn't possibly think about, even though I've spent a lot of energy thinking about it. And it gets better and it elevates. So that stuff is fun. I'm making it sound like I like music, which is strange. So yeah, no preference, just when things are good, they're great. Anyone else? Or shall I bash through this last tune now that my hands are nice and cold? Let me try and... Oh, just incidentally, for no good reason at all. Do you think this is a cool chord? Because I've been trying to put that in a song for a very long time. Who was I talking about chords to? Usually, if your chord can say a lot just by itself, I feel like it's worth putting in somewhere. This one's another one. All of this says a lot more than... That actually makes me gag. I think that's really bad. Right, wish me luck. This one's really hard, and my hands are cold. Yeah, I haven't played in standard for shit, man. Pardon my French. Since 2009. Yeah, I mean, I've done some project. I was producing a friend for a while. We did 2 EPs and an album. That's all standard, but I can, if need be. You know, I studied. Yeah, but it looks sick, no? I like stuff like this where you can only play it in a crazy way. Also, nobody asked, but a cool way to make your chords sound good is to get open strings in them. Like, these are just really pretty. Or you can do your... Horrible. Don't applaud this. There will be none of that today. All right, this is my last tune, and then I'm gonna go and hit the vape. It's gonna be awesome. It's called Waves. It's unreleased. It's really hard. Let's do it. Thank you, thank you. You know what's really annoying about that is I nailed the hard bit and I completely train wrecked on the easy bit. What am I doing? Anyway, that is about it from me. If you want to listen to my music, I'm on Spotify and stuff. If you see me around today, I'll be hanging out. Just come and say hi. It's no big thing. Thank you for joining me. I've been Olly Steele. No, but I did pay someone to. No, they don't really like that I did it, but I just kept bashing it, so I was like...